Okay, so Anna, we're going to start with you. I watched Late Bloomers last night, and I actually loved it. So
thank you. Well, imagine if you hated it.
I would lie, but
yeah.
no, I'm just kidding. I really liked it, and I think our audience is going to really like it. So tell us, what inspired the film for you, like to write that? Where did it come from? Something of your own experience?
Yeah,
or?
It is from personal experience, which feels always very weird to say, to be like, I inspired myself to write this, but a lot of it is really true. I was going through a pretty big life breakdown in my late 20s, as most people do, I think. Mine specifically was about a parent's illness and a breakup and breaking my body. And so...
Did you break your hip?
I did break my hip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you really knew what that was like.
I did, yeah, and it was a very specific, strange place for a young person to be broken. And all of a sudden, I found myself surrounded by elderly people as I was rehabbing in a Polish neighborhood in Greenpoint. So I was surrounded by Polish people. I did not make a friend like Antonina, but it was just such a strange confluence of events. And my mom, at a young age, was declining rapidly from dementia, and so it's just a strange time of life. Not completely unfunny, so that's why the script has humor in it. But I think it was kind of so weird that I felt like I had to write about it.
Well, I thought you captured that balance really well. So
Thank you.
my family, we've experienced dementia and Alzheimer's,
I'm
and
sorry.
as much as it is a tough topic, it can be a funny topic as well.
Crazy, funny things can happen.
Yes, the situations that come out and the things that are said can lead to humor, and you need humor to get through things, right?
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
I thought that was great. How did you guys end up working together with Lisa? Did you know each other before?
Yeah.
Had you worked on projects before?
Yeah, Lisa and I went to college together, and she was always the smartest, coolest person that I knew. Yeah. And when I moved to Los Angeles, I just knew I wanted to be working with her. So anything that I wrote, short films, I would ask her to direct. She would say yes. And so we also started working with John DeManil, our cinematographer, who did all our shorts, and then he did this movie. And so it was a really beautiful transition that our producers, Alex and Taylor, basically fostered, letting us keep our team from shorts to our first feature, which is, it was nice of them to do. Yeah.
Now, hopefully my research is right on this too, but Sundowners was the
We did
short.
that one.
Okay,
Yeah.
and I watched that too, and
Nice.
also it has a similar theme that carries over into the feature with the mom kind of wandering out or taking the car on their own. So I saw how that was kind of a progression. So Lisa, for you now working on this, did you have Karen in mind for this role? How did that process go?
I had Karen in mind for any role. She's actually also part of our friend group. She's her
Would you
husband.
say that? You're a friend?
This is on camera now. This is on the record.
Official. We are friends.
You guys all went to NYU, right?
Her husband went
I
to
did,
NYU
yeah.
with us.
There you go.
We were close friends with her husband before Karen.
Yeah, but
But all great partners, we found the woman to be more interesting.
That's right.
yeah, and I mean, because I have the privilege of knowing Karen outside of her Marvel persona, I knew that she would be perfect for this role because she is weird.
I was like, what adjective?
And she has all these qualities that she can bring out in this role. So
She's
I was really
funny.
excited to have her.
Yeah, just physically, emotionally, spiritually. Yeah.
Well, and Karen, that kind of leads me to my next question. Obviously, people know you from Jumanji and the Guardians of the Galaxy universe, and I watched last night with my boyfriend. He's like, "Wait, she played Nebula?" And so it's such a different type of role, and you are fantastic because you are leading it, and your co-star doesn't speak English for most of the film. So, tell me how you approach this type of movie versus say a blockbuster when you're really leading it. You're getting into the nuance of the character.
I wish I had something interesting to say, but truthfully, I don't change my process from one genre to the other. I'm just always on a mission to make it as truthful as possible. I'm not thinking oh, this is an indie film that's more of a character piece. Let me approach this differently. I'm approaching, blockbuster movies in the same way of how do I make this nuanced and believable and interesting? And so I just kind of approached this the exact same way. This was a little bit different because I was able to inject it with a little bit more of my own personality traits. So this is a role that's slightly closer to me as a person, but obviously adjusted and affected for story purposes. But yeah, I kind of felt like I could let loose a little bit, which was quite a nice freeing feeling.
It was really great to see that quirky side of you, just like even like the throwaway delivery lines. I love that, because the comedy comes out of that, and I thought you were really great at nailing that. So what was it like working with the Polish actress that played Antonina? I mean, if you want to talk about working with her in those scenes and maybe directing kind of what those scenes were, because even though the audience does not know what she's saying, it's hilarious, and you kind of still, you get that emotion,
Yeah, I mean, she's such an extraordinary actress that it almost didn't matter that I couldn't understand what she was saying, because I was understanding something. It was my interpretation of what she was saying. But she's just amazing, isn't she? So talented. And
yeah, I think she also comes from like a theater background, so she has a very good understanding of like physicality, and from the start, we had a week of rehearsal leading up to the shoot, and so we had Karen and Margaret both in the room with us, and she was just so invested. Like she was like, I am Antonina now. She like would fall into the character, and it was just incredible to watch her.
I love that. I also thought the women in general were just a great span of women that you had in those pool therapy scenes. I thought they were kind of hilarious, and I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit, but you had such a strong female cast. I mean, practically the whole movie was female driven. A few scenes with the dad, of course, but talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the pool ladies, they were gems. They came together. I mean, through casting, we kind of like found each one of them, but as soon as they were on set together, they were just like kind of off in their corners gossiping, and then like they just formed this friendship immediately, which was amazing to watch. And yeah, I mean they all have their own like careers and backgrounds and stuff that were so fascinating and had a lot to share. So yeah, it was great.
They all give like a little piece of life advice at the end. So I want to ask each of you if you have a little piece of life advice or advice for other women in the industry, whatever. I know you have you just mentioned you have a 6-week-old baby, so you might have advice that you'd want to pass down there.
I'm so sorry to her. No, I think if I was asked that kind of question, which is we were asking like what advice would you give to your younger self? Is I would really, really wish for myself to, accept myself more, to have more ease within my body, and to know that I was actually doing a good job, even when it looked bad or I felt bad. Like, I would just be really encouraging, because I was so down on myself as a younger person.
Yeah, I think
We're our worst critics a lot of times.
Yeah, totally. I feel like I've also like always been waiting for the moment when I would come of age and like figure things out, and I kind of think that might never come. So I'm gonna just like accept that fact and accept that it's a continuous process.
Are we just kids doing impressions of adults?
Absolutely.
This is my question. Because that's what I feel like.
Yeah.
Like right currently?
Yeah.
I think so.
I've never felt like an adult.
Like I've adopted a more mature rhythm of speaking.
That sounded mature.
That I'm like, I think I picked up from watching people on TV or something.
Right,
I feel like I'm like a
play acting.
child.
We're all just watching each other. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I did have a feeling when I was pushing the stroller down the street for the first time, I was like, this is not right. Because you look at people doing that, you think they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But when you do it, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, no one knows what they're doing.
That's
And
scary.
then I realized that none of the leaders
No.
in this world know what they're doing.
Okay.
That's a whole other No, but I mean that theme comes out in the film too, right? Because you have your friendship with Antonina, but then also your roommate. There's just a lot of different ages, different backgrounds, and they have those tough conversations where you feel like your life is a mess in the film and he has it all, but he feels like people assume that he has it all when he feels this way. So it's kind of, you kind of touch upon that in there, the assumptions of age or background or what people think on the surface everyone has, but deep down everyone's just kind of figuring it out sort of thing.
I think at my most depressed, I always feel like I want what everybody else has. Like I lose myself in thinking about how I could be somebody else. And I really lose touch with like just who I am. So I think that's in there too.
Yeah, I think what's so cool about the script is that it has so many different types of people who are all don't know what they're doing and they're all figuring it out. And like it doesn't matter what stage you're at or what you look like from the outside. You know, everybody can relate in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So the film's coming out this week, so we're excited to see it in theaters. Obviously, I would tell all our audience to go see it. Last question, I guess, would be about the Alzheimer's specific storyline.
Yeah.
What do you guys hope that people maybe take from watching this? Because it is a topic that isn't talked about that much, and is, whether it's Alzheimer's or dementia or other just like natural aging, that process of aging and seeing your parents age and your family age. What do you guys hope that viewers take away?
Well, it's a horrible disease, and but it can be very isolating and private and shameful. At least that's how my family experienced it. So I would hope that it opens up conversations if people are experiencing it, or their fear of it, or whatever it might be. That it's just like becomes a little bit less secretive around that disease, and more normalized, because it is a process that we all do go through, no matter what is aging. So I think it's hopefully going to bring light to the disease, but not in a way that's like, and it's the most tragic thing and you must feel tragedy about it. It's just more like, this happens and it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah, I think kind of like you said earlier, it's, I watched Anna go through this experience, and I had a grandmother who had Alzheimer's, which wasn't as, directly related, but I watched her do things that would sometimes be funny, and my family would laugh about it sometimes, and we felt like we couldn't talk about that on the outside. Like, you're not supposed to laugh about these things, but laughing is how you get through it. And watching Anna be able to write a whole script where you can laugh about things, and even the hardest things in life, I think was very cathartic.
Yeah, I hope that maybe this story will connect with people who have been sort of put into the caregiver position, and maybe I hope that they'll cut themselves some slack, because it is really hard and it's such a mixture of emotions, and it's okay to not be perfect in that role.
That's so sweet, Karen. That was sweet. Yours was
It
fun,
is true.
Lisa.
Even when you lose her in the film, you can see that you really care for her, right, on that one party night. And that actually, I was going to end it, but one last question. That kind of takes me to, that scene is great, where you guys are out dancing and drinking, and she has that moment on the dance floor. And I think even in your short, the mom has that moment with the music in the car. So music is a big theme in your stories. You're an up-and-coming musician in this movie. And I think, I don't know if you want to mention about that, but how music really does kind of transcend, because it does in your films, and then in my own experience with people with Alzheimer's, music can really change the mood for them and really just take them back to a different time, and where the disease isn't so forward.
I think it's one of the last vestiges of communication for that disease. And then my mom specifically was a radio DJ, and so she was very obsessed with music. So it became my last way of kind of like being connected to her. And so a ton of the movie is about like how do you speak when you can't speak with words. And so music is a huge part of what stuff we make because of that.
Yeah, I mean, Anna comes from a really musical family, and I feel like she has a really good way of communicating through music. Like, she writes songs into the scripts, and just reading that, I kind of get a sense of what the scene is going to be, and it helps me interpret it. So.
And Karen, were you playing and singing in the film? Was it actually you playing and singing, or did you have to learn?
I was singing and kind of miming playing the guitar.
Well, it looked real. It looked great. So movie magic, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much. This was
Thank
really
you.
great, and
Thank
we'll make
you.
sure that all of our viewers check out the film this
Awesome.
Friday.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.